All right, folks, let's talk about the US-China trade war. It's a bit like a reality TV show, except instead of drunken arguments and bad decisions, it involves billions of dollars and the global economy. So grab your popcorn and buckle up. The story starts with China's economic boom. They were producing goods like crazy, and America, being the consumerist society it is, was buying. This led to a massive trade deficit. The US was importing way more from China than it was exporting. Imagine going to a restaurant, ordering everything on the menu, and then complaining about the bill. That's kind of what was happening. But it wasn't just about the money. The US also accused China of unfair trade practices, like stealing intellectual property and forcing American companies to hand over technology secrets. Think of it like China peeking at your exam paper and then claiming they came up with the answers themselves. Not cool, right? So tensions were simmering. America wanted China to play fair, and China wasn't too keen on changing its winning formula. This set the stage for a full-blown trade war. In 2018, then President Trump, a man known for his subtle approach to diplomacy, just kidding, decided to take action. He slapped tariffs on billions of dollars worth of Chinese goods. Think of tariffs as taxes on imports, making Chinese products more expensive in the US. China retaliated with tariffs of its own on American goods. It was like a game of economic ping-pong, with each side trying to outmaneuver the other. Businesses and consumers on both sides felt the pinch, and the global economy started to sweat. The tariffs targeted a wide range of products, from soybeans and pork to electronics and machinery. This hurt American farmers who relied on Chinese markets and increased costs for American businesses and consumers. Meanwhile, Chinese manufacturers faced higher costs and reduced demand for their products. The trade war escalated quickly, and both sides dug in their heels. It was a classic case of two economic giants locked in a battle of wills, with the rest of the world caught in the crossfire. After months of back and forth, the two sides agreed to a temporary ceasefire in January 2020. They signed what they called the Phase 1 trade deal. China agreed to buy more American goods, like soybeans and energy products, and promised to crack down on intellectual property theft. But hold your applause, folks. The deal was far from perfect. It didn't address some of the bigger structural issues in the US-China trade relationship, like China's subsidies for state-owned enterprises. And the promised increase in Chinese purchases was seen by many as unrealistic, even before a certain pandemic threw a wrench into everything. The Phase 1 deal was more of a band-aid than a cure. It eased tensions temporarily, but the underlying issues remained unresolved. It was like putting a plaster on a broken leg. It might hold things together for a bit, but it wouldn't fix the problem. Section 4, Pandemic Pressure Cooker, COVID-19 and Trade Tensions. And then came 2020, the year the world decided to play a real-life game of pandemic. COVID-19 hit, and global supply chains went haywire. Suddenly, the trade war seemed like a minor squabble compared to the economic devastation unleashed by the virus. The pandemic highlighted the interdependence of the US and Chinese economies. Both countries faced shortages of essential goods, and the fragility of global supply chains became painfully clear. While the pandemic initially overshadowed the trade war, it also exacerbated existing tensions. The Trump administration blamed China for the outbreak, further souring relations. The trade war may have taken a back seat, but the pandemic added fuel to the fire. Section 5. A new Cold War, the future of US-China trade. Fast forward to today, and the US-China trade relationship is still, shall we say, complicated. The Phase 1 deal is still in effect, but tensions remain high. The Biden administration has maintained many of the Trump-era tariffs, and there's no clear path towards a broader resolution. Some experts believe we're entering a new Cold War, with the US and China as the main protagonists. The future of US-China trade. Fast forward to today, and the US-China trade relationship is still, shall we say, complicated. The Phase 1 deal is still in effect, but tensions remain high. The Biden administration has maintained many of the Trump-era tariffs, and there's no clear path towards a broader resolution. Some experts believe we're entering a new Cold War, with the US and China as the main protagonists. This time, however, it's not just about military might, but also about economic dominance, technological supremacy, and global influence. The future of the US-China trade relationship is uncertain. Will they find a way to coexist peacefully and cooperate on global issues like climate change? Or will their rivalry continue to escalate, leading to further economic and geopolitical instability? Only time will tell.